Welcome to another episode of Black Man Carpool. I am your host, Black Wax, and I got my driver in the cabin today. Zay, what's up, bro?
What up?
What happening?
What up?
Man, it's all good. So, episode number 73. It's been a minute, but we back in the saddle once more again. We got a couple of topics. I want to talk about some sports and politics today.
Politricking.
Yeah, you know, they're always kind of related. So I notice a lot of people do not know about this particular story, but if you watch any sports, radio, newspaper, or media, you pretty much know about the Ball situation. LeVar Ball and his three sons, whose names all start with L, the oldest one being Lonzo. Lonzo is going to be a top 3 draft pick here in the NBA draft. And, you know, he has a lot of potential. He did a great job at UCLA. His father is trying to negotiate a $1 billion shoe deal with all 3 of his sons. And so he's gotten lots and lots and lots of criticism for this because he marketed a shoe that was 495 smackaroos. Flip-flops for $220. And if you want the autograph sneaker, that's going to run you $995 plus tax. That's over a G for the ZO2s.
Yeah.
So if you've seen the shoes, they look a little plain, or they look like they got some kind of animal print, maybe some kind of like ostrich or not. I wouldn't say ostrich. Have you seen the shoe?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't seen the shoe? Yeah, I mean, they look okay. They don't really look $4.95 worthy, but I do like the logo on the back of the shoe. And so I think his father, I think LeVar Ball is a little bit cocky. I think he's a little bit off his rocker, but sometimes that's what you need to be able to succeed in business. And I think that he's doing something very unprecedented, and it just might work. I mean, he could go bust, but he doesn't seem to be too, swayed by the money. He wants to really own his own. He wants to be able to produce his own shoe. He wants to not be controlled or ran by, Nike, Under Armour, or Adidas. So I gotta respect him for that. He has a long-term play here. I know me personally, I would not be able to turn away that kind of money for a shoe endorsement deal. But at the same time, if I had 2 younger brothers and we all in conjunction with our father, we're trying to start our own brand and be our own conglomerate, be our own entity, then I guess I could see myself forfeiting, some of that shoe endorsement money to try to start our own, entity, our own empire.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's I think he's putting an extreme amount of pressure on someone who hasn't even reached the adult age yet, to be honest with you.
19?
Well, 21's when he can actually go in bars.
Okay, yeah.
So, if he ends up blowing up and doing really, really well, ends up becoming like the next Steph Curry or LeBron James, I think it's a genius idea. However, those guys are one of a kind, and he obviously thinks his sons are one of a kind. But one thing I can tell you is that playing in the NCAA and playing in the NBA are 2 different worlds.
This is true.
And it's different when you come from a structured 1-3-1 or whatever zone that you play, and then you come to this new environment where it's just strictly man or a combination of the both. But really, it's the speed of the game that changes. And if he does well, I think the shoes have an opportunity. I think a lot of celebrities are catching hold of this. And I think if he does well, a lot of people will be trying to break the bank to get them some $500 shoes. However, if he doesn't do well, them shoes are finishing on the shelf, and you may be getting some calls for a refund.
Well, he listed on his website no refunds, and there's been about 400 or 500 orders. And according to LeVar Ball, he says a good amount for him. So he's okay with selling 40, 50 pair of shoes if that's all he sells, because he's more interested in the symbolism.
Yeah. Which
is, once again, it's nice to be in that kind of position. I don't know if that level of symbolism will mean the same. Well, I'm not going to say that, because there's nothing like having your own family business. But that's not to say that they can't have a family business doing something else.
Right.
But, that's a lot of symbolism, right? If you're content with only selling, a few hundred pairs.
Yeah, and because that price point is so high, he'll be winning. Yeah. But he got to get that volume up there, and so
right.
Again, I think he has some orders that need some backfill, which are great. But really, I wouldn't even wait for the boy to get on the court. I'd pump out them shoes as fast as I can.
Oh, he's already got orders.
And when are they supposed to be filled?
November.
When's he supposed to hit the NBA?
Well, the draft is, I think it's next month, but NBA season starts around October, November.
November of this year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it'll be around the same time.
Yeah, if I was LeVar, I'd try to I'd try to expedite the process of getting those out and go ahead and get your money up front, because you just don't know what's going to happen. So therefore, whether he busts or not, you still got your money. And we already have it to where there's no refund, so this is guaranteed cash. So if I was him, I would think about that, getting these out before he even touches the court, because again, if he messes around and busts his knee and he ends up being a flop, then you are finna be a flop, and that's gonna cost your bottom line.
Mm-hmm. Well, shoes are not easy to make. That's right. That's why now you don't have a lot of, shoe companies.
Yeah, you have the dominant ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it. I know it's hard to make, especially when you're getting it from China, and you're doing the R&D behind it and everything else. However, to be on the safe side, if it was me, I would be pumping them things left and right to get those orders filled, because you just don't never know how this boy's going to end up. You just don't know.
Now, if you compare them to Jordans, at one point in time, Jordans had the highest price point for a sneaker.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Jordans were very, very sophisticated, right? Just the look, just the style. They had all the pizzazz.
Yeah.
Even today they got staying power because the shoes look so classy, right? They pop. And so performance-wise, you got a lot of people that don't even hoop in Jordans. They just want them, for everyday casual wear.
Sure.
But what Jordan has done that I've noticed over the years, because you got Jordan and you got Jumpman, they flooded the market with lots and lots and lots of different variety of styles. They pretty much all really diluted their brand in some ways, because you can go to the store now and get $30, $40 pair of Jordans. They're not going to be the premium, the high quality Jordans, but as far as the Jordan brand, you can get sometimes less than $30.
Yeah.
It's a wide range of shoe prices and shoe styles that's coming from the Jordan brand.
Yeah, absolutely. But you have to remember, the only reason why that works is because Michael Jordan was the best.
Right.
And so, he built that brand throughout years of championships, throughout UNC, all the tenure that he had built up and everything that he's done, it built that brand. So, what's the boy's name?
Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo doesn't have that yet. He made a little legacy at USC. He broke some records. However, you ain't played with some grown men yet.
Yeah, UCLA.
Yeah.
But let me use a couple of analogies here. You tell me what you think. So, Russell Simmons, who's never picked up a basketball collegiately or professionally, who has never rapped one lyric on an album, he sold 1 million sneakers, Fat Farms. They look like Adidas shell toes.
Yeah, and again, like he had to build his brand up throughout the years, so therefore he got his cut, with Run DMC, and he started making a lot of connections with the Beastie Boys, and so they were able to be pioneers of hip hop, really, and so they had a big staple in this hip hop thing, and then hip hop really it ventures off into different things. So people who get into that entertainment space, they're not just actors nowadays, they're models. Some of them try to become singers, and vice versa. Some people who start off in the singing industry end up being actors or modeling or whatever. So it makes sense that he was able to take advantage of that, because it just transitioned into other areas of of entertainment, and it just makes sense. It's easy for him. It's not easy, however, once you open up one door, other doors automatically open up for you, and that was just one of them. It's the same thing for Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre has made hundreds of millions of dollars just making beats, and that's his niche. However, somebody came across and said, hey, will you wear these headphones? And now he's made $1 billion off of headphones. That was just the icing on the cake. Really, what he does, he's a producer, but just a roundabout way, his music led into headphones. So therefore, that was just one of the opportunities that happened when he became successful. That door opened, he walked through that door, and really now he's infinitely wealthy, because when you talk to Dr. Dre, he doesn't talk about beats. He talks about him producing music, because that's what he is. That's where his heart is. However, I am an entrepreneur, and I do sell headphones as well.
No doubt. So I have another analogy. So are you familiar with the West Coast rapper Nipsey Hussle?
I heard his name before. Yeah. He's
a pretty good rapper. I give him some credit. I've heard. I can't pinpoint any one song right now that stands out, but I've heard some of his music. He sounds good. He's a good rapper. A couple of years ago, he gained a lot of attention because at a time where people were putting out free mixtapes, he put his mixtape out for $100 each, physical copy.
Yeah.
And his goal was to sell 1,000, and from what I heard, he sold more than 1,000 copies. Jay-Z bought 100 copies. So, and the mixtape, I haven't heard the mixtape, but the fact that he sold 1,000 copies and he gained so much media attention by doing something completely out of the ordinary, it was very unprecedented.
Yeah, and really it all goes back to adding value to your brand, and your brand has to have some type of value behind it. So in my opinion, a lot of mistakes that happen within the music industry is that people give out their stuff for free. Well, and they feel like they need to get out their stuff for free until someone like Dr. Dre actually, discovers them. However, Nipsey Hussle sounds like he was a little bit more savvy, because he kind of knew his worth. So therefore, he decided to go ahead and put a value sticker on there, which is $100 for his mixtape, because he knew that he was that hot. So therefore, his, he probably sold to white kids or people who had money, dudes, hustlers or whatever, and they heard that his stuff was like, yeah, this man's the truth. He knew he was the truth, and people around him possibly knew he was the truth as well. That's why it was a business decision to go ahead and put $100 on a mixtape, when really most people who don't have people in their corner with good fruit on the tree to give them the input to say, hey, you should probably put a label on this or a price tag on this. Instead, most people try to get out there on their own without really knowing what the grind looks like, and just going out there and throwing out their mixtape for free. That automatically tells people like Dr. Dre and somebody else that, hey, this person probably doesn't have any value behind their music, because they don't even put a price tag on it. And they see hundreds and probably thousands of these things on a daily basis. Like, yo, listen to my mixtape, here's a free copy. Nah, listen to my mixtape and it's worth $100. Hand it over. So
now, free mixtapes do work as well.
They do. But that's the traditional route.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's a traditional route. And really, to stay on top of the game, you really have to be innovative. And so what a lot of people don't understand is building a brand, building value around your brand. Once you're able to build value around your brand, other people are going to respect you.
Right.
But you have to step out on the limb in order for that to happen, just like LeVar's doing. He's stepping out on the limb. However, it was not guaranteed that Nipsey Hussle was going to be able to make that money.
You're right.
He just stepped out there, and so this is what he's doing. However, to mitigate the risk, you want to go ahead and get these things pumped out as fast as you can, because again, you could rap all day if you have a solid mind. You can't play basketball the rest of your life because them knees are going to give out or ankles are going to give or something.
No doubt.
So pump them out while you can to go ahead and mitigate the risk of your son getting injured.
Let's talk about one of your favorite groups, Wu-Tang Clan.
The woo, 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 woo.
You know, they made an album and they sold it to the highest bidder, $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
One album, one copy, exclusive.
Yeah.
Not for commercial, public consumption.
Yeah, 36 Chambers. You're absolutely right. However, before 36 Chambers came up, they had to go around and they had to make a name for themselves. So they had to have that brand. And their brand was that whole Kung Fu thing.
Right.
And, you know, the 36 Chambers.
Right.
And so around that time, again, it was like rock rap. And it was a different type of rap that you had, because you go over to the West Coast and there was nothing but gangster rap, but then you go to the East Coast and they get a little bit more artistic with it. Well, the Wu-Tang Clan, what they did was they decided to make some rock beats and throw rap behind it, what kind of started their little niche. And so it spread, not only people who liked rock, but liked rap, and it's fused the two together. Not only on top of that, you threw a little Kung Fu mix, so therefore you have an influence in China now and Asian countries. Mm-hmm. And so this is the reason why you didn't really have an adoption here in the South, because the South had their own niche, was like the dirty rap and you know, the chop and screwed at the time. And so they had their own little niche, but still they had to build their brand.
Right.
You know, and they knew that building their brand, they wanted to be a little unique. They just didn't want to go out there and battle rap.
Right.
You know, we want to come out there with some swords and stuff and act like we're fighting because we're the 36 Chambers with a Wu-Tang. And so, you know, once you add that element of karate with rapping, it's just a fantastic mixture. But no one, again, I go back to this whole wrist thing, because no one knew it was going to pop. Mm-hmm. No one knew it was going to pop until they started selling out shows and everything. And then finally, when things start to fuse together and everyone had their rhymes and everyone was a really a well-oiled machine at that point, then they came out with 36 Chambers. And now 36 Chambers, you know, it's history. It's one of the best rap albums ever.
Right.
But the point I'm trying to make out of all of this is that there's risk involved. And it's not guaranteed that you're going to pop. However, you step on that limb and you just kind of, you know, let faith take it where it's going to go. Mm-hmm. But to mitigate that risk, you want to do some things to really help. And I don't know how the Wu-Tang Clan or how Nipsey Hussle were going to mitigate their risk. However, LeVar's in a really unique situation to where he has back orders for a shoe that's extremely expensive, right? Way out of the norm. And he has an opportunity to get these things shipped out and get cold cash before his son even hits the deck. Yep. Because once his son hits the deck, no telling what's going to happen. He may blow up and he may be the man of the year, or he may mess around and blow his ankle out and not ever be able to play basketball ever again. The fact of the matter is, you want to get these shoes in these people's hands as soon as possible.
So I want to throw a couple of different ideas at you right now. So let's just say that it works, right? And he comes out with the, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 different models of different shoes, right? Yeah. And so let's say the shoe gets better and better and better. Let's just say he drops the price point down, right? To average $150 or what have you. Okay. And so now he's got a viable shoe company. He's making a variety of different types of shoes. He's servicing men and women and kids, what have you. Yeah. And so he has a shoe market. And then his career takes a nosedive, right? He still could go overseas to China and play ball and thrive there. That's what Stephon Marbury did.
Sure. I mean that's all cool and all. I mean, that's great, but I mean, the whole point of the matter is the risk that I'm talking about is getting injured. Yeah. You can't ball in China if you're injured. And so therefore, if you're not injured, why would you want to go to China?
If you fizzle out of the NBA, because a lot of NBA players that fizzle out find their way into China.
Yeah, but I don't see him doing that.
Or overseas, I should say, not just China.
So you have people who are like non-franchise players, like Stephon Marbury, where he had a lot of on the court and off the court situations going on, and you had, I think Allen Iverson, his career took a dump.
Even Kobe played one month or so. Yeah, it's like he didn't play a whole career. He didn't play like a full season, but he played like 1 month.
I think I think he did when
they
were on the strike or something like that. So
yeah.
that was a little out of the norm.
Right.
But yeah, of course they were enjoying Kobe over there. So yeah, so that is an opportunity, and that may be the mitigated risk. However, it would be a bad idea for him to lower his price point, especially coming out the gates like this, because you don't want to water down your brand. You want to take a stand for it.
Could $500? So now could $500 be the new price point moving forward? That's crazy.
Exactly.
I can't see that happen. I'm gonna put my foot down against that one. I can't see that one happen.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that would happen. What I'm saying is, if his shoe is doing well and he takes off and he's doing really well, there's no reason to lower that price point, because
You're right.
At that point you'll be leaving money on the table.
Exactly.
And so I don't think that should ever be an option for him to lower his price point if his son starts to do well, because then you water down the brand for the next son.
Right.
And so, you're really trying to build an empire here, and you're really trying to get residuals. So, to go over to China and to go do your thing over there, that's cool. But I don't think you'll be able to sell to that type of market, 500 some odd Chinese shoes, when people are buying them for X amount of dollars. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but right now it sounds like there's a market for his high priced shoes, so you best take advantage of it, because it may not be there soon.
No doubt about that. So let's segue into another sports related topic.
Okay.
We're getting very, very close to my favorite time of the year, the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
So the good old San Antonio Spurs, they got swept to the Golden State Warriors. And, of course, they lost Kawhi Leonard and Tony Parker. So they just weren't able to compete at a high level as they normally would without, those two players in the rotation. I do want to send a shout out to Manu Ginobili. He was a class act. This could be his last year. We don't know yet, but he's got a standing ovation, really, from everyone, including the Warriors, because he's been such a class act.
Absolutely.
And an outstanding basketball player.
Yeah.
That is represented very well in the league. But they got swept, right?
Yep.
And I really saw how many guns like Golden State Warrior has. I mean, they're loaded. I mean, the deck is stacked in their favor right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the bench is strong. Of course, the starting five is strong. They're stacked. They're heavy right now.
And they're focused.
No doubt.
They weren't even really celebrating.
No.
They were just clapping. And
Yeah.
They just knew that they know what's at stake here, and they're very focused, and they know what they need to do to get the job done.
Right.
And that's what I take my hat off to them so much about, is that, not only they're not boastful. Now if I'd be willing to bet you $1 million the Celtics beat the Cleveland Cavaliers to go to the NBA Finals. Them boys is out there celebrating. Them boys is getting loose.
Yeah, they gonna be hyped.
Because this is a milestone for them, big time. It's not a milestone for Golden State. They've been here before, and
Right.
they know exactly who they're gonna face.
Right.
So they're focusing on let's hurry it up, and they know who. Everybody knows who's finna. Everyone knows that Cleveland is going to the finals. I'll put it out there right now, and Golden State's like, hurry it up.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hurry it up. Get it over with. Get them done, because we're waiting for you, and we're extremely focused, and we just can't wait for it.
They're about to be off for like 10 days.
Yeah, no, and I bet you they all practicing too.
Yeah.
I bet you Steph up in there, everyone up in there, at least shooting threes, doing drills. You know what I mean? This ain't nothing new.
So it's gonna be interesting to see the arch rivals, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. I'm going to call 7 games. I'm going to call Cleveland in 7.
Nah, I'm going to say Golden State in 7.
Okay.
Yeah, be interesting.
All right, so we're willing to bet a beer on that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I ain't scared.
All right, so for the record, Zay is going with Golden State in 7, and Black Wax is going with Cleveland Cavaliers in 7. So we'll follow up next month, and we'll see what it do. So anyway, that's been the 2 topics that I really wanted to discuss today. You got any shout-outs?
I don't have any really shout-outs, but this is more of a reflection when it comes to character. I'm sure everyone's heard about all the rhetoric that's going on with our current president of the United States.
Yep.
And, one of the biggest things that you could do as being a leader and an influencer in any situation is being genuine and to be honest about what you got going on and not to be so ambiguous, because perception is everything. And the perception right now is that the president of the United States is a fraud, and he has dealings with Russia, and he's trying to avoid some tax information, and now he's going to try to avoid being audited by the FBI about this whole thing. And if there's anything that I could really tell you that you should remember at any of these podcasts, is that being genuine and having character goes a long way. Because what you'll see in the upcoming months is our president is going to be under a tremendous amount of stress, and he's going to get interrogated, I believe. And more than likely, he's probably going to be impeached because of the simple acts that he's done in order to get to his place of power. And I mean, not only that, you take a look at his marriage. It's not a marriage that I would want. I wouldn't want any marriage like that or wish that on anybody, because again, it's not really all the glitz and glamour that everyone perceives. And you're going to see all this uncrumble right before your face, and it's all because of someone not being genuine. So, no shout outs, just a reflection.
That's a very nice reflection. I find it interesting that his representatives have a very hard time representing him.
Defending him, and the thing is, they defend him, and he goes on Twitter and it goes right behind their back, and he does the exact opposite. And this is just the reality of where we're living in now. And TV has been the main influencer for our culture, and now we have someone who's an actor leading our country, and he just doesn't know what's going on. He's fumbling all over himself. He's contradicting himself. He says rants. He just says really out of the line stuff, and it just shows you he does not have the infrastructure for a president. And even though he's a businessman, I'm not saying that he would not add value somehow or some way to the White House. However, it would more likely be in the entrepreneur sector or the small business sector, trying to get that off the ground, not with foreign intelligence, and really not leading this country to greater things.
Very, very good observation. I like that reflection. So definitely will make note of that. Always be genuine. And I'm going to close out with, you can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Facebook, Mixcloud, Google+. Please like, share, subscribe, and definitely leave a comment. We would love to hear your comments and your feedback from the show. If you have a topic or if you have an idea or any kind of feedback, definitely just shout out to us, and we'll be more than happy to respond. So this has been Black Wax and Zay, episode number 73 of Black Men Carpool, and we are out.
Deuces.
Peace.